Hey there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Meatloaf blog episode. As always, I am Ray, aka Meatloaf Man, and today's topic is going to be about who do I want to see win the Super Smash Bros. Ballot. Now, as we all know, the Smash Ballot is ending extremely soon as of, both the recording time of this and hopefully the upload time of this episode, and I was, I was considering, sooner or later I wanted to tell the entire internet about, who do I want to see show up in Smash Bros. Who do I want to win the ballot? Who do I want as DLC in general? Who do I think should, who deserves to be part of the cast in my opinion? And I've been meaning to do this for a while, and technically I have done this before for a Team Triforce episode, but unfortunately, due to personal reasons, Red Link, aka Isaac, has yet to get the episode up there. So, since you guys don't know, obviously, who I want to see, I thought I'd take it upon myself to make a Meatloaf blog episode and put it out as soon as possible so you guys can know. So, yeah, here it is. Now, the way this is going to be going down is that I'm going to be listing 10 characters who I want to see. It was originally going to be 5 when I was planning this episode. But, I thought that there was, first off, there's a whole lot of characters that I want to see in there, but I had to bring my limit down to a certain number so I can make sure that this doesn't go on for too long, and so that way I can just compile like a list quickly of different reasons of why I want them to show up. And another reason is the fact that I realized that when I was making the list of top 5 characters, there were more third-party characters in there than Nintendo characters, and I thought that I should be fair and organize this into a top 5 Nintendo characters I want and a top 5 third-party characters. That way everything can be evened out and it won't look like that I'm completely biased towards non-Nintendo characters showing up due to the ballot. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see some third-party characters show up. I've listed plenty of them on there as well as Nintendo characters too. So, and something else I want to get out of the way is the fact that I, in any way, do not think that all of these characters will 100% for sure be showing up in the game. Maybe not anytime soon, maybe in the future, hopefully. But I do not think that any of these guys will for sure win the ballot. It is possible that they may win the ballot. Some of these guys are popular choices, so they may end up showing up anyways. But I just want you guys to all know that for everyone that I am about to read off of, I am mentally preparing myself to not see them become playable. It will be sad, it will be unfortunate, but I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to be fine with whoever we're getting, assuming that, it's not a character that nobody wanted. So yeah, so I'm going to tell you guys who I want to see, and then by the end of this, I'm going to tell you guys what I think will probably happen. So, and keep in mind, this is just wild mass guessing at the same time. And ladies and gentlemen, I also want to get this out of the way. Please don't make any negative comments or dislike the video or anything like that because of my own personal preferences towards who I want to see in Smash Bros. Please. Because, it's my opinion. I feel I have the right to, tell it to the internet whether they like it or not. And, I respect everybody else's decisions of who they want to see show up all throughout. So I feel I should be able to get the same treatment as such. So let's all be, kind and courteous here, and by the end of this, I would like to see you guys comment down below who you guys will want to see win the ballot, or see as Smash Bros. As a character in general. So yeah, just wanted to get all of that out of the way, and yeah, let's get started. Looking at the thumbnail, you guys might already be spoiled by some of whom may be showing up in this list, but you guys are going to be hearing the reasons behind them very soon. Now, the way that I ordered this list is that I'm going to be reading off Nintendo characters first and then third-party characters. And I have both a list of characters that I want and an honorable mentions list that didn't make the top 5 for each not because I don't want to see them show up at all. Like, I would love to see them show up too in the honorables mentions that I'm going to be mentioning. But I couldn't come up with enough reasons of why I wanted to show them in there that would validate them being featured here. And again, I don't want this to take too long, so I'm going to briefly mention those when I get to them. But yeah, the way this is ordered is that it's going to be sort of a top 5 way of the least of who I want to see, and the most who I want to see being saved for last. So I'm going to be speaking for the character I want the least, but still would want in the game anyway. And then the last character for both lists will be who I want to see the most. Alright, so let's get started. So we're going to be starting off with the Nintendo list first, and starting off with number 5, we have Bandana D from the Kirby series. Now, obviously, we all know, Bandana D is a classic Kirby character and a fan favorite, and he would be a new Kirby representative since there aren't any in Smash 4 playability-wise. And, of course, we all know he's been playable in the Kirby series before. He was in Return to Dreamland alongside Meta Knight, DDD, and Kirby himself, so, having the whole complete quadrio of the Return to Dreamland protagonists all playable there would be really cool to see. And he would also, technically represent a classic Kirby Mook, because, Waddle Dees are like the Goombas. They're the first enemies that you see when you play a Kirby game, usually. And, it would be cool to get a common enemy, or at least a representative of a common enemy species thrown in there as a playable character from such a classic series. And, Sakurai, he created Smash Brothers, and he created Kirby too. So, thinking about it, he probably would certainly figure out a way to implement a variety of different moves into his characters and similar characters that have received such treatment. Because all he uses is a spear, yeah, but, there's different things you can do with a spear, I'm certain, and if he becomes playable, we can certainly see what he would do. Maybe he could throw multiple spears at once and one would regenerate in his hand. Maybe he could just, do a variety of different stabbing moves. Like, there's the one move that I think the Mii Sword Fighter can do where the side B, I think it is, or standard B, whichever, they do like multiple stabs in midair or like, in front of the opponent. Something like that will work well for Bandana D, I'm sure. And it would also be interesting to see what he would do in his final smash. Maybe he could summon like a whole horde of Waddle Dees and Waddle Doos, kind of like DDD's final smash. Speaking of which, because DDD's final smash has been changed between Brawl and Smash 4, Waddle Dees no longer appear as part of both his final smash and his moveset. He throws Gordos now, and his moveset is just, his final smash is just him sucking in the opponent with his breath and then hammering them, then throwing a bomb at them to finish them off. There's no more Waddle Dee army or anything like that. So, since that kind of happened with Pid, Palutena doesn't appear in his final smash anymore and she became playable. I'm certain the same thing could probably happen to Bandana D if possible. And he would, because he wears a bandana obviously and has a spear in his hand, he would definitely look distinctive compared to the Waddle Dees that would appear in Smash Run. And, lastly, he's a simple kind of character from a design standpoint. I'm pretty sure he won't be too hard or too complicated to create. Like, Smash characters are, in general, I'm pretty sure takes a lot of effort to create and implement it into the game. But I think Waddle Dee would be extremely simple because, he's a simple character to begin with when you really just look at him. So, yeah. So I would like to see Bandana D show up, and he would be a really cool new Kirby representative to have in. I'm pretty sure that there's other, like, suggestions like Marks and Galactonite and all that, but, when it comes to a character who's already been playable in the first place, I think Bandana D is a good choice that people will love. So, next up on my list, number 4 is Crystal from Star Fox. So, Crystal would be a new Star Fox representative, because like the Kirby series, Star Fox didn't get any in this game. In fact, we lost a representative from the last game. Kind of crazy, but unlike Wolf and Falco, she would probably play different, probably completely, than Fox himself. She would have a variety of different things to do in her moveset, thanks to, her training in the team and through her magic staff. She has been playable on foot before in the main series Star Fox games. And, of course, we also have a new Star Fox game coming out this year. Now, I haven't done much research, so I don't know if Crystal is showing up in that game. But, there's a new game in general. She's part of the series. Why not? And really, the only reason that people detest against her being in the game in Smash Bros. Is because some people like a lot of people don't like her portrayal in, I think it was Star Fox Assault on the DS, and also people don't like her portrayal by her fan base. So you know, I'm kind of on the opposite side of that. I don't want Crystal in because of the whole factor of her being a popular character in her communities, but I really just want a Star Fox character who has different variety for once. And I know people want Slippy in the game, and I got nothing against Slippy, but guys, what is he gonna do? Honestly, I'll just leave that question sick into your heads. But honestly, I'm being 100% honest. I think Crystal would be an interesting addition, and no, people, she will not look scantily or suggestive looking in the Smash Brothers. When she debuts in the game eventually, she since the game has an E10 rating, people. I'm pretty sure Sakurai is gonna make it a priority to make her look safe for work. All right. Plus, I'm pretty sure the whole proof of that is the fact that there's like a whole dark void under everyone's, like, all the female characters' dresses now, from what I read in articles, and they also had to take out that Farja trophy from Fire Emblem Awakening that was originally going to be in the game, but didn't make it in, probably to preserve the rating. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Crystal would be fair game in terms of how she will look when she comes in, if she comes in. But yeah. Oh, and of course, she's another female representative, so we kind of need more of those in there. So, next up on my list is, coincidentally, another female representative that we definitely need in the game, Dixie Kong. So, she would be another classic DK representative. We haven't gotten any new DK reps in a while, even though it's one of Nintendo's most well-known series. It was probably their first major series, because, Donkey Kong arcade game. So, now we all, some of us know for a fact that through data mining Brawl, we found out that originally she was intended to be a playable character as, like, I can't remember if it was supposed to be an Ice Climbers kind of thing where she was supposed to be playable alongside Diddy Kong, similar to Donkey Kong Country 2. But I think what the case was that Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong were originally supposed to be a 2-in-1 character who would swap out mid-match, and then you get to have a different playstyle with them. Now, I think Dixie would be interesting to have in the game as her own character, mind you, because she has enough playable appearances in the DK series and relevancy in recent times to warrant a spot on the roster. Not to mention that, she has enough moveset potential with her attacks. And she is also popular among DK fans protagonist-wise when it comes to voting for someone who could be playable in the game. Right next to the likes of Cranky Kong, Funky Kong, and of course, I can't go without mentioning Lanky Kong. Because, Smash Reddit memes. He has no chance. I'm just kidding. But, she would have similarities to Diddy Kong in some of her attacks, but I don't think they're, enough to make her a clone character per se. I think that, honestly, it's kind of irrelevant when you consider the fact that, the clone characters that we have in the game are similar enough to their original characters already. They look similar, they play similar, like with Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and Lucina. So, what's really the problem with having Dixie Kong, a character who's similar to Diddy Kong in terms of appearance and some of her attacks, being in the game? So, yeah. That's just my case of it. So, it would be cool to see her in. And, it's likely she could show up, but I have a feeling that, K. Rool might take it. I'll speak more about that later, but yeah. When it comes to me and, who do I want to see between Dixie and K. Rool in terms of a new DK rep? K. Rool is a villain, yeah, but I would like to see Dixie more because she was playable in the first place, and really it surprises me that she's not a new character in this game at all. But yeah. So next up we have number 2, which is, brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going through with this. Number 2 is Princess Daisy. I'm serious, I'm not joking, I'm not going to follow up with a haha joking is actually this character kind of thing. I'm 100% serious. Number 2 of who I want to see playable in Smash Nintendo-wise is Princess Daisy from the Mario series. Now, let me talk a bit about why I want her badly to be in Super Smash Bros. So, first off, she debuted in a main series Mario game, that being Super Mario Land, and she was the main focus of the plot in that game. She has appeared, as from what I researched, in over 40 Mario titles to date. The spin-off games that she has appeared in portrayed her as a competitive athlete in multiple sports, racing at many of her events, so that would be kind of perfect to have her as a fighter in the game, thinking about that. Her tomboyish personality and moveset variety would be a fresh addition to Smash and would loosen any similarities she has to the other princesses on the roster. She has no other representation in the game beyond a Mii Fighter headpiece, a palette swap that is selectable from Peach, and a collectible trophy. And even then, that collectible trophy that's currently in the game is a sports trophy. She has had, her own proper trophy before in Melee and such, but not in this game from what I've seen. I think maybe in the Wii U version, but I haven't played the Wii U version in a long time, so yeah. So, the characters, characters who have been playable through Palace. People argue that, people usually argue that, instead of having Daisy as her own character, why not just play with Peach with the Daisy palette swap, or why not just suggest to Sakurai to have Daisy appear as an alternate skin for Peach, similar to what they did with Olimar and the Koopalings. But, the latter suggestion would be ideal, because they do have similar, looks and height and everything in the first place. But, in my opinion, I think Daisy deserves to be her own character because, first off, while she was a much requested character from me, I am happy that Rosalina's in the game, but at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed that Daisy doesn't have any spot on the roster before her, especially considering that Rosalina came on way later than Daisy did. I feel that Daisy has enough abilities in her own right to warrant her own moveset, and honestly, I just prefer that she'd be different from Peach in general. And I'm certain that, when you think of Sakurai, he definitely wouldn't stop until he makes sure that Daisy is a character who is differentiated from, any characters who may be similar to her on the roster. I don't think that he would be lazy, especially, ladies and gentlemen, this is the ballot we're talking about. I don't think that Sakurai would be crazy enough to include a clone-ish character as one of the winners of the ballot. That would be lazy. It would, it just wouldn't be right, in my opinion. I think that if Daisy somehow won the ballot, she would have her own moveset developed for the game. So I don't think you guys have anything to worry about when it comes to that. Now, I know that other Mario characters such as, Waluigi and all that are more desired than Daisy, but in all honesty, guys, think of it this way. Daisy debuted in a main series Mario game. She has appeared in a lot of spin-offs, but when it comes right down to it, the only reason that Waluigi even existed in the first place was to give Wario a partner for the Mario 64 Tennis. And really, Waluigi hasn't. I think he's shown up in RPGs. I'm not sure on that, but beyond that, Waluigi hasn't really been in the main series titles all that much compared to Daisy's one important appearance when it came to Mario's handheld debut. I think honestly, this is kind of an overdue addition. I think she deserves her own spot at this point. And of course, as we all know, she is a female representative, and she has existed long before characters who are already on the roster like Bowser Jr. and Rosalina. So why not? Let's do this. Daisy for Smash. I'm with it. Say whatever you want about me. I'm going full force with it. Now, before I mention my number one pick, I would like to go on with my honorable mentions. First off is Isaac from Golden Sun. I think it was kind of weird that he was not included as playable in the game in the first place, and that his assist trophy and his whole universe in general was just taken out from the transition from Brawl to Smash 4. I feel that originally he was probably planned to be playable because of his uninclusion as a trophy assist trophy, and that they probably just ran out of time and couldn't include him. But I feel that if he showed up thanks to the ballot, then it would do him and the Golden Sun franchise some justice. I would like to see the Inkling from Splatoon show up. The Inkling is still a relatively new character, and I know we just got that Mii costume of the Inkling boy and girl, but still, it would be interesting to see what Sakurai would do with them, with all the ink power-ups, and there's definitely a lot of moveset potential with different new weapons that the game keeps getting every now and again. Wonder Red from the Wonderful 101 is a popular character choice and probably likely to win. He is already represented along with his universe as various trophies in the game, and he would more likely show up in the game thanks to being a first-party title. He was developed by Platinum Games, but people need to understand that he's not a third-party character. He is a Nintendo-published character, so he definitely has more of a chance of getting in than any other character. And I know people probably also want Beautiful Joanne, who is similar to Wonder Red in terms of appearance and some actions, but Wonder Red comes from a completely underrated game, so I feel that he probably deserves it more, even though Beautiful Joe would be really cool to see. Impa, specifically from Hyrule Warriors, would be another cool addition because we haven't seen there hasn't been any new Zelda characters show up in Smash 4, and she would be a logical choice to go to when it comes to who could be represented next. She definitely has a lot of moveset potential thanks to what she can do in Hyrule Warriors, and of course, some of her alternate palette swaps could be her appearance from, I think it was Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess or something like that. I don't know, but definitely she would be another interesting addition, and possibly also a likely one. And last but not least, at least from what I remember, I would like to see Chibi Robo show up. Chibi Robo has a new game coming up. He has an amiibo representing him now. And he's another classic Nintendo character that definitely would be interesting to see in Smash Bros. He would be a fun character. I would like to main him if he got in the game. And him showing up in Super Smash Flash 2 from McLeod Gaming definitely shows me that he has potential as a character in the game. So, I say why not? If McLeod Gaming can do it, I'm sure Sakurai can think of something. So yeah. So let's get on with my number one Nintendo pick, and that is none other than Sceptile from the Pokemon franchise. So Sceptile is among my favorites of the starter Pokemons as a whole from each generation, if not my most favorite. He has no other representation of himself besides a collectible trophy. I'm not sure, I think there is a trophy of him in the game. I could be mistaken. If not here, then in the previous Smash games. But regardless, he has little to no representation in the game whatsoever. There is no grass-type starter Pokemon being represented as playable in Smash 4. There is only just Greninja and Charizard. And in addition, there is also no Hoenn representative as well playable. There's only been Pikachu, Jigglypuff, and Mewtwo who are Gen 1. There's been Pichu who is Gen 2. There's been Lucario Gen 4. And, also Charizard Gen 1. And Greninja who is Gen 6. And Sceptile is currently relevant right now at the moment due to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. He has enough moves to work into a playable moveset and would probably fit right in with the rest of the cast. And his final smash could easily be his Mega Evolution. Whether or not it would just be him doing, Frenzy Plant or something like that, or just him being able to do stronger damage, I don't know, but I wouldn't mind either way, because I just want Sceptile in the game in general. I've been wanting him in the game since Brawl alongside Blaziken, but I think Sceptile would be the ideal choice to go to. I don't know if he's going to be playable in the upcoming Pokken Tournament Fighters, but still, he would be a really appropriate addition at this point, because there's just so many pointing to him being, I just think he deserves it in general. That's just what I think. Alright, with that out of the way, now we're going to be moving on to third-party characters. By the way, we're halfway through this, and I apologize if this sounds kind of awkward, and it sounds like me just going off out of my words, but at the same time, I'm trying to get this out as soon as possible without rushing it, and really, there's not much more I can say beyond the reasons I've written down for each of these characters, so just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm pretty sure that, all these reasons right now are reasonable for, why I think they deserve a spot in Smash. So yeah, let's move on. So, number 5 on my third party list is Simon Belmont from Castlevania. So Simon Belmont is a character who debuted on the NES and has several titles appear on Nintendo consoles. He is the most suggested and preferred member of the Belmonts, and among other Castlevania characters like Alucard. And he has obviously we all know for a fact he has an alternate version of himself appearing in Captain and the Game Master alongside other Nintendo characters including Mega Man. And some of these characters, like Pit, Samus, and Link, and Zelda, who will show up at some point, all became playable in Smash Bros. Obviously. So in that regard, it would make sense to have Simon playable. Not to mention the fact that he is a classic and memorable enough character to appear in the game, and also he has enough abilities and weaponry and such, with his whip, the holy water and everything, to warrant his moveset potential. And in the event that Snake should return, Simon would still have a chance of getting in thanks to Ryu and Mega Man being present as 2 Capcom representatives. So I don't think we gotta worry about that. Number 4, I kinda cheated because I kinda want both of them in the game, but at the same time I couldn't choose one over the other, so I just went screw it. Number 4 is shared by Phoenix Wright of the Ace Attorney series and Professor Layton of the Professor Layton series. Now, my reasonings for Phoenix Wright include that, his inclusion would probably be the same reason that he's in Marvel vs. Capcom. He is a fun Joe character who doesn't actually fight, but defend. He's been primarily published on Nintendo platforms. He has new games coming up soon on 3DS and will be appearing in Project Cross Zone 2, which is another Nintendo 3DS exclusive series that only now has Nintendo characters appearing in it, such as Lucina, Crumb, and I forgot what's her name from Xenoblade Chronicles, but yes. Alongside Mega Man and Ryu, he's also one of Capcom's most well-known fond characters, and seeing him show up as an assist trophy instead of a fighter would also be a cool alternative in any case that he doesn't show up as playable. And I'll be blunt here, guys. He's the right guy for the case. Yeah, get all your booze ready at the pun, I don't care. Now for my reasonings behind Professor Layton. For the same reason as Phoenix, he's a fun, joke kind of character who will, instead of fighting, will solve puzzles during battle. Though he does know fencing canonically. He's also been primarily published on Nintendo platforms and is also a never found character created, particularly by Level 5 Games. And idealistically, in my opinion, it would be kind of cool to see him alongside Phoenix Wright in Smash Bros. Because, Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton was a really awesome game, and seeing them fighting each other in a Smash Bros. Environment would be hilarious and also interesting to see. But seeing him show up as an assist trophy would also be a cool alternative in case he can't be a fighter. Not to mention the fact that he is a true gentleman. Come what may, puzzles are there to be solved in Smash. So, they are my number 4 choice. Moving on to number 3, we have Tails from the Sonic series. So, Tails is another Sonic representative. He would be the second one, and the second main series character to become playable from the franchise. Because Ryu is in the game alongside Mega Man, again, there's no problem with him being in the game and overrepresenting Sega, as some people would say. Now, I know for a fact that people want, characters like Knuckles or Shadow or Eggman to show up over Tails, but I'm just gonna say, my reasoning behind why I prefer Tails over those 3. Now, I would love to see all 3 of them become playable, don't get me wrong. But when it comes right down to it, Tails has been seen with Sonic more often in recent titles in the main series, playable or not. And he's kind of been with Sonic since the beginning in Sonic 2 and Knuckles. He's Sonic's Luigi, so I think, through that logic, it would be pretty ideal to include him alongside the Blue Blur himself. Not to mention that, I don't know, in my opinion, while I would love to see Knuckles show up, I would prefer if Knuckles were to show up in the game after Tails, because it would be weird to see him show up before him. And I know Knuckles is the obvious choice and probably the easiest since he is the brawler of the group and he has a lot of moveset potential as well. But, Tails is Sonic's sidekick, so having Knuckles show up before him even though Sonic and Knuckles had their own 2 games together, technically 1 game, I just think it would be awkward. I don't know. Say what you will, but I just think that if Tails and Knuckles could show up together, I'd be fine with that. But if you ask me, I think Tails should be represented. And it would be also cool to see, Eggman show up, in like a mech or something like that, kind of like what you have going on with Bowser Jr., especially since the fact that he's another villain character. And Shadow would also be interesting, but unfortunately he's a trophy right now, and I know some people are saying that, well, they could just disable his assist trophy. But, there's always next game, guys. Like, give the developers a chance to consider him for next game. So Tails definitely has enough of, the level of classicness and novelty going for him. It would be interesting to see what Sakurai would do with his moveset, considering what he's done all throughout the series of Sonic games. And the idea of seeing both the Mario brothers and the Sonic quote-unquote brothers from another mother squaring off in Smash Bros. Would sound intriguing. And obviously, yes, I know Death Battle has already answered the question of who would win between both of them individually, but still, in a Smash Bros. Environment, it would be really cool to see them officially, settle the debate. So yeah, the number 2 third-party character that I want to see show up in Smash is Rayman. Now, Rayman would be a fresh addition to both the roster and the third-party cast of characters. He is a popular choice among fans of Smash Bros. And the Rayman series. Ubisoft straight up endorses his inclusion in the game, and he's already represented by 3, not just 1, but 3 trophies in the game. So, the fact that Sakurai is even aware of Rayman himself and included representation of him and his friends in the game means that he very well knows of the franchise. So adding him into the game pretty much wouldn't be a problem since, he's kind of familiar around the entire world. Looking at him in recent titles, his abilities and fighting style definitely would work perfectly with Smash. There was even a couple pictures that went up the other day. They were probably like fake leaks, but they kind of looked realistic. But I'm leaning on them being fake. But they kind of looked like Rayman being in Smash, and they showed him attacking another Rayman model, and the effects that this person applied to the different punching and kicking moves that Rayman was using in those pics looked like they were actually from Smash Bros. With the new special comic book effects that they added into Smash 4, and they look so realistic, and it just proves even more that Rayman would definitely work well as one of those brawler type characters. I just think he would fit perfectly fighting wise. And I should probably remind you people that even though it ended up becoming multi-console, Rayman Legends was originally Nintendo exclusive and was published by Nintendo themselves in Japan. So he definitely has enough precedence going for him being in this game, despite the fact that he wasn't born on Nintendo and the fact that, he didn't play too much of a role in Nintendo's history, but he had plenty of, games on Nintendo to warrant an appearance in the game. Kind of like, with Snake. He didn't technically start off on Nintendo, but he, because of the whole friendship with him and Kojima, Sakurai was able to implement Snake into the game, no problem, especially since Snake already had games on Nintendo systems. And of course, as we all know, the Rayman series is well received, so I think people wouldn't be against him showing up in the game. In fact, I think if anything, he's probably one of the most requested characters to be in of all time, alongside, K. Rool and all that, so I think he's pretty much, likely to show up. It would be cool to see him, and last but not least, it would be really freaking hilarious to see how they handle his amiibo figure, considering the fact that, Rayman doesn't have any limbs. His arms and legs, his body in general, his head, they're all connected in midair. Nothing is connecting them. So are they just going to put in, clear, invisible plastic around, his body parts and all that? There's been plenty of pictures that suggest as such, but yeah, in general, it would also be amusing to see how they handle the amiibo figure, but yeah, I really, really want to see Rayman show up, and I think he's very likely. It will be disappointing if he doesn't show up, especially since he already has his universe represented in-game, but oh well. Now, like I did last time, I'm going to be mentioning my honorable mentions before I go on with my number 1 choice. So, my first honorable mention is Bayonetta. Now, I've been seeing many suggestions for her, and because of the fact that her last game was a Nintendo exclusive, and the fact that only Nintendo wanted her instead of the other companies, I feel that she does have, like, enough precedence to show up in the game. If not playable, then at least as a collectible trophy. The only reason why I think that she's unlikely to show up, unfortunately, and trust me, I really would love to see her playable. The only problem against her is the fact that, for the same reason I said earlier about, the Forager trophy being removed and, with the whole E10 rating going on, a lot of Bayonetta's attacks involve her undressing herself and, with her utilizing her hair into different weaponry and such, not to mention the fact that, Snake comes from an M-rated game, yes, and Bayonetta would definitely have a chance since if he got in, then she can definitely get in. But consider the fact that the Bayonetta series in general is kind of more darker in terms of the lore and the attacks that she does in her game compared to Metal Gear. Still, it would be cool to see her, and it would be amusing to see what her attacks would even be. Hopefully she can make it into the hopeful Smash Bros. 5, if that ever becomes a thing, or Smash 6, whichever one it is. People are considering Smash, or at least Sakurai anyway, he considers Smash 4 on the 3DS to be Smash 4 and Smash Wii U to be Smash 5. I don't know. I'm fine with either, really, but the next Smash Bros. Game afterwards, maybe, if they bucket back to a T rating, I wouldn't mind that. Next honorable mention is Shovel Knight. Now, Shovel Knight is a character that I think is also very likely to become playable. I honestly would prefer to see other characters, including my number one choice I'll be mentioning in a few, to be playable over him. In fact, I wouldn't mind him showing up alongside this top 5 list of characters, of third-party wise anyways. But, the thing is, Shovel Knight is not a Nintendo exclusive game. I know we just got that amiibo recently, which gives him precedence, and that amiibo is really cool. I want it so badly, but while Shovel Knight is an awesome game series and he's a pretty awesome looking character, he is still a fairly relatively new character, and he is not a Nintendo exclusive character. He is multi-platform. Not to mention the fact that, he's been only beginning the special DLC treatment recently on PlayStation and Xbox with the whole Battletoads and Kratos DLC, so there was talk of, Nintendo-related DLC in the same vein coming, but I don't know if I've seen any news about that show up yet, so yeah. But hey, at least we got that amiibo anyway. But still though, it would be cool to see Shovel Knight show up anyway, but I would much rather prefer to see characters who have a, who've worked alongside Nintendo, who have a long history, and who deserve it more than, a fairly new character. Though it would be cool to see representation of him. He has been showing up as a guest character in a lot of indie games recently. As I mentioned earlier, I would also like to see Knuckles show up. He is on my honorable mentions list. He would be another obvious choice, even though I would like to see Tails more. And honestly, I don't think I really need to go on about, mentioning what Knuckles could probably do in a game, because, if you play just even one Sonic game with Knuckles unplayable in it, and you play as him, you see what he can do, then you get the general idea. I don't know if Super Knuckles or Hyper Knuckles would be his final smash, maybe you could probably get something else, but hey, I'm fine with whatever they give him, honestly. Someone who actually also made it to this list, but is on the honorable mentions list instead, is Bomberman. Bomberman would be another classic addition, and the fact that he crossed over with Wario in a Game Boy game once definitely helps his case when it comes to his history, with Nintendo and all that. Plus, the Bomberman series in general is a fun game series. I would love to see him show up. A lot of people would like to see him show up. He's been wanted since Brawl, honestly, since, the whole third-party thing came into play. Outside of the ballot, I think he's definitely a likely character to show up in the future, but I wouldn't mind if he won the ballot, honestly. He'd be an interesting addition. As to how he would play, go play Super Smash Flash 2 and play as his character there. I think that he will probably play similar to that. And last but not least is the choice that everybody is going crazy about, which I would love to see, but is kind of next to near to impossible to happen, and that's Banjo and Kazooie. We all know that Banjo and Kazooie debuted on the N64, created by Rare. He is technically part of the DK universe because he is canonically Diddy Kong's friend through the Diddy Kong racing games. That's where he made his debut alongside alongside Rare and all that, and other potential failed mascot characters that were originally supposed to get their own rare game. Banjo and Kazooie definitely have a lot of moveset potential. They look like they would be a fun character, and people have been saying that, Duck Hunt is pretty much the spiritual representation of them in Smash Bros. And they were originally supposed to show up in Smash 64 as well, like they were on the list alongside the other characters like Mewtwo, Meowth, James Bond, and everyone from GoldenEye N64. And do you guys know how awesome that would have been if all those characters showed up in the N64 Smash, by the way? Anyways, it would be really, really awesome to see Banjo and Kazooie show up in the game. It would be freaking crazy considering the fact that they're owned by Microsoft now. So, a Microsoft representative, not even like a representative from a competing video game console company showing up in Smash Bros., it would just be insane, and it would just blow the airwaves of the internet and, just social media in general across the planet if he was announced. The only reason I don't see it as, likely as happening, now granted I could be wrong, he could show up anyway and it would be awesome, but the reason why I think it's unlikely to happen is because Nintendo probably doesn't want to end up promoting a competitor's character and series. The series did used to belong to them, but, still. I know Phil Spencer said that he would be okay with Banjo and Kazooie showing up in Smash, and the fact that there have been some rare published titles showing up on the DS before and all that after they were bought out by Microsoft, but hey, anything can happen at this point. They said that any third-party character qualifies, so we'll just have to wait and see what goes up. And, seeing a trophy as them would be the next best thing. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are at number 1 of my most requested third-party characters list. And oddly enough, this character is not only my most requested character from third-party characters, but also from, all characters who are currently being voted on in the Smash Ballot in general. She is a character that I think would fit in perfectly with the Super Smash Bros. Universe. She is a character that I think has plenty of moveset potential. She is a character whose art style would fit perfectly among the other cartoony characters. Not to mention the fact that her amiibo would look downright adorable. If you guys haven't guessed who it is at this point, I am talking about Shantae, the half-genie hero. Like Raymond, Shantae would also be a fresh addition to both the roster and third-party cast of characters. Idealistically, I would like her to show up alongside Raymond in the game together. She is a popular choice amongst fans of Super Smash Bros. And the Shantae series. Her publisher, WayForward, definitely endorses her inclusion and has even gone on record to urge fans to vote for her in the ballot. They even threw up pictures of what her potential costumes could be for the game. The other day, they even set up a poll in Japan to get Japanese fans of her to start voting for her. And better late than never, I say, because she definitely needs all the exposure she can get. I should also note that Shantae has been primarily published on Nintendo consoles. She has had appearances on other consoles before, and the upcoming Half-Genie Hero is a multi-platform game. But throughout the years, and since her debut, she has been completely loyal to Nintendo. Her games do have mixed reception from a lot of people, but they're not bad games in general. They're still very fun games that people can get into. They're interesting games that are definitely different kinds of platformers from what we're normally used to with, the whole power-ups type of platformer and everything. She could utilize some of her belly dancing moves to transform into different creatures as part of her moveset. She has a wide assortment of items from throughout the Shantae series that she can definitely also use as items, such as the Storm Puff Clouds. She can use them to shoot electricity out of them. There's also the pirate gear that she borrowed from Risky Boots from Pirate's Curse that she can also probably use. And in my opinion, honestly, her popularity is very underestimated by many, many people. And besides all characters, I just want her the most to show up. She just seems like a perfect fit with that world. One of the most stupid reasons that I usually hear about people not wanting Shantae to game is the fact that the only reason that people vote for her is because of how her character design looks and how people want a Scantalus character showing up in the game. And people even downright use that argument as a saying how she probably won't show up because of her looking Scantalus. And honestly, I think that's complete bullcrap. First off, like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure Sakurai would not make her look sexual or anything like that in the game. Obviously, he knows very well that he needs to preserve the game's rating, otherwise she won't be included, so If she does win the ballot, then I'm pretty sure Sakurai will do anything in his power to make her look appropriate for the game. Even though some of her artwork and official medium looks like that to some people, I'm pretty sure that's not going to damage her chances of showing up. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the reason why I want Shantae in the game. Shantae is an adorable character in general, not to mention memorable, and, you know, I would even go as far as to say as one of Nintendo's, like, most historical all-stars. She's not a Nintendo character, but she's definitely been among the Nintendo family for a long time. Sure, her debut game didn't really do so well on the Game Boy Color because of the fact that it came out around the time that the Game Boy Advance debuted, but still though, that doesn't really stop Shantae from being a popular historical character. In my opinion, I think that she alongside Shovel Knight would represent the indie community perfectly, so I really don't see any argument as to why she shouldn't be in the game. I want Shantae in the game because she can do a lot. She is downright perfect for the game in my opinion. I'll be really, really, really disappointed if she doesn't end up joining the game, but I'll still be fine with it anyways, especially since the fact that she has a lot of supporters behind her. And hey, you know, with her popularity, there's also the possibility that she could also show up in the hypothetical Smash 5/6/ whatever it is. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Now, one last thing I wanted to go over, well, two last things actually. First off, returning characters that I would like to see show up include Snake, obviously, because, you know, Snake was one of my mains in Brawl. I loved playing as Snake. I cosplay as Snake regularly at conventions. And, you know, we just got, you know, the new Metal Gear 5, Phantom Pain, and that did very well, even though it's not on a Nintendo console. And I know that Konami is going through a lot recently, and, you know, more and more every day it seems less likely that he'll show up because of that, especially since the fact that Hideo Kojima left the company. But still, he would be cool to see return. I would like to see the Ice Climbers come back too, even though Sakurai stated that the reason why they're not included in the first place is because they had problems implementing them in the 3DS version, even though they worked fine on Wii U. But yeah, I'd rather they not make things unfair for 3DS owners if the Ice Climbers could only come back on Wii U version should they return, but yeah. Also, it would be interesting if Pokemon Trainer came back as a standalone character, since obviously, you know, they got rid of transforming characters, so I assume the same rule would probably apply to him. As to what Pokemon he would have while he stands in the background, I'm not sure. I've seen some people argue for Ivysaur, and I've seen some people argue for Squirtle. Really, I'm fine with either. It would be cool to see both of them show up, and I would appreciate it if they had the Pokemon Trainer show up in the background. Really, when I think about it, I'm not even sure why Pokemon Trainer is not there with Charizard in the background. Yeah, he can't change Pokemon anymore, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't still own Charizard. But whatever, I'm not going to complain about it too much. Last but not least, a character that I think is likely to return is probably Wolf because of the upcoming Star Fox game and the recent surge in popularity that he's gotten thanks to the ballot. And because of the fact that, you know, other characters from the previous Smash games have been returning as well, I can definitely see Wolf as the most likely contender out of all of them that I just mentioned to return. Especially since we're getting a new Star Fox game next year, it definitely helps in his favor. If any characters were to return from previous games, I would rather that they get in by any other means besides the ballot, because I think that if they got into the ballot, it would pretty much waste a slot on a potential new character. Again, would love to see them return, and the ballot definitely helps their popularity. But if these returning characters were to come back through any other means besides the ballot, that would be ideal and much appreciated from my end. Okay, so you've heard me talk about characters that I would love to see join Super Smash Bros. And characters who I would love to see come back. But what characters do I think will end up winning the ballot for sure? Now, this was a hard decision, and I did have to do a bit of research before doing this to solidify my opinion. And keep in mind, this obviously probably won't be the case. This is just how I see things will probably be. But I think that, assuming we get more than one winner, which we probably will since there was a recent data mine that confirmed 3 empty character slots. Hopefully it's more than just that eventually. But in terms of who I think will be winners, definitely King K. Rool has gotten a huge blast of popularity in recent times, especially with the addition of that K. Rool costume coming in. Not to mention the fact that, surprisingly enough, he is a very, very popular character in Japan. And he's probably the most requested by Nintendo fans in general because of the fact that he is a classic Donkey Kong character. We need more villain characters, and really, he hasn't seen much action in recent times besides the Mario Sluggers game. I think that was the last time he showed up in. Not to mention the fact that if we can get the Kremlings in Smash Run, I'm pretty sure that K. Rool is an ever likely option to become playable. And he would be interesting to see, don't get me wrong. I just prefer Dixie more, in my opinion. But if he ends up being in, I won't mind. Like, I'd play as K. Rool, I see how he plays, and if he's good, then maybe I'll consider maining him. If I don't find him to be a favorable character to use all the time, then still, I'd be fine with him being on the roster. And it seems very likely to become one of the winners of the Smash Ballot. I think Shovel Knight's also a really high possibility due to the fact that he's gotten many fans voting for him on all of these fan ballot polls that have been going up in recent times on Reddit, and Etika put one up recently. Who is more likely to get in, Shovel Knight versus K. Rool and all that. Shovel Knight definitely has a lot of backers behind him, so I think he's also probably likely to win. Will I think Raymond and Shantae win? In my dreams, I would love to see them be the most likely winners, but I can't say for sure. As to who I think will take the third slot, I'm not too sure either. Maybe Wolf, but again, I don't want to see a returning character win the ballot. But when it comes right down to it, in my opinion, at least from what I can think of right now, K. Rool and Shovel Knight are the most likely winners of the ballot. Again, idealistically, I would like to see all of these characters show up, but I know for a fact that's not going to happen, and I'm mentally preparing myself to see these characters not show up. But whoever the winners are, I will appreciate their inclusion. I will appreciate the fact that Masahiro Sakurai and Nintendo as a whole have been listening to their fans and putting in the characters that they've been wanting to see all these years show up in the game. And really, this whole crazy ride through thinking of who's going to win the ballot has been fun. It's been interesting to see who people want, people's strong arguments over characters being in the game, who people are voting for, who's winning all these individual polls. It's been a fun ride. And while it will be disappointing to see the characters that I really wanted to be playable not become playable, it'll still be interesting to see all of these fans, dreams and hard work and, tenacity of getting all these other desired characters in finally pay off. And the fact that they're still even doing DLC and making Smash Bros. Relevant for a third year in a row is just crazy. Because, unlike Brawl, Brawl was popular when it came out, yeah, but when Smash Bros. Was even announced, the hype train was just huge. And when it finally came out, we have a freaking 3DS version, we have a Wii U version, we have the Amiibo, we have the DLC, we had the soundtrack come out for Club Nintendo users. We have all of these tournaments happening officially and unofficially. Really, at the end of the day, it just proves why Super Smash Bros. May be one of my most favorite franchises of all time, especially in terms of the video game scene. It's iconic, it unites many great characters together, and most importantly of all, it unites many friends together, both old and new, from around the world or even in your neighborhood. Smash Bros. Is powerful. It brings the best out of all of us, and it brings the best of us together for a really awesome cause, whatever that cause may be. Whether it be to just have fun and beat the crap out of each other with our favorite characters that we grew up with and are still growing up with, or just celebrating the fact that they're all together in one single game in general. I'm still gushing over the fact that we now have Mario, Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man, and Ryu together in one game, alongside all these other great Nintendo All-Stars. So just thinking about who could be next is just insane. And we're finally going to be finding out about that pretty soon, so I'm hoping you guys get ready for it as well. The roller coaster is about to leave the station, ladies and gentlemen. Please all hands, feet, and other extremities inside the vehicle at all times, lest you fall out and badly injure yourselves. But that's about it on my end. So once again, I want to thank you guys all for listening and for, considering hearing me out on all of my choices. And comment down below, what are your choices for the Smash Ballot? Who do you want to see win? Who do you want to see become playable in Super Smash Bros.? And if not in the ballot, who do you want to see show up in the next game? Don't be afraid to go into detail. I do read the comments after all. And of course, as always, please leave topic suggestions for future m3Atl0afblog episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if this sounded kind of awkward at a lot of points, but hey. So this is Ray, aka m3Atl0afman, signing off of another episode. See you guys next time. Peace and smash on. So I will dance through the danger and fly away to the stars. Take my lead and I'll start it to the beat of my heart. I'll never give up in my fight till the future is bright.